Link engaged.
Visit us at teamspeak.com.
All right, guys, we are back with game number 2 of the grand final. Can I call it the grand final? It's the final between HwangSin and NEXHack. Up here in the top left-hand corner of the screen, we've got Hack spawning, and down here in the bottom right-hand corner is the Protoss player HwangSin. This whole event, of course, brought to you guys by the fine folks at TeamSpeak. So go check out their fantastic voice communication software. That's how we're casting this whole event, and I gotta say, it's pretty straightforward, easy to use, and I guess dummy friendly if I was able to get into it.
Yeah. I just installed it like 2 minutes before I went on because I was using a new PC and didn't have it on there yet. So 2 minutes before the show started, I downloaded it, installed it, got on it, so can't really get easier than that.
Great sound quality too, I have to say. I've always preferred the sound quality of TeamSpeak over some of the other programs that I shall not name. Anyways, well, we do have another TVP. Of course, neither of these guys are going to change races. They're here in the finals. They're going to finish on the horse they rode in on. This one's going to be on Shakur's Plateau. I'm really curious, Dario, how do you feel about this map? I kind of think it favors Toss a bit, because once they get that 2-base economy going, they can split the map right in two and just turtle up until they get that ideal death ball.
It's actually my favorite map, I think, out of any map in every Terran matchup, really. Even though a lot of Protoss favored against Terran and some Terrans whine a little bit about it, I think it's a great map overall. You can really come from different flanks, even though it looks like a funnel.
Mm-hmm.
You still have basically 3 ways to go through the middle. You can do a lot of drops, and in front of the natural, you have huge, wide, open space where you can play around with your marauders, spread them out.
Right.
While you were saying Protoss can also split the map really nicely, and Terran itself can take a 3rd base fairly quickly, so what I like about the map is you have tons of options to play it.
I know that the Protoss player Sokka loves to play this map. I've talked to him about it a little bit, and he seems to think that it's impossible to lose here. Of course, he's quite an excellent player, and he probably practices harder than most non-Koreans. But like I was saying, you know, if you just split the map, you get pylons all over the place. You can warp in easily, get up to Colossus, and maybe start adding in High Templar. I think it becomes super hard. You're right that drop allows you to exploit some of the immobility of Protoss, but I don't know, man. You really feel like this? You can call this 3 attack paths?
Yeah. I feel like you could kill the rocks, and of course it's a narrow path you can go through.
Are you noticing what I'm noticing about this map? This is the old version of Shack.
Oh. Yeah, it is. That makes it a little bit more weird, I guess.
Okay, well, so be it, I suppose.
Never mind me then, I guess. I mean, you could still call it 3 ways, I guess, if you take out destructible rocks.
Why? Yeah, I just realized that. I don't know what to say. So these games were played over on Korea. I guess, I mean, if the players are okay with playing on the map, so be it. This is a version of Shakur's Plateau. So
yeah. So that is very different, actually. You can take your 3rd base much more quickly, but it's also very vulnerable to Terran and Protoss attacks, because you can go over the cliff, poke in with Colossus to pick up. While Terran doesn't really have the option to just go in there, because you have to go through the other main, take down rocks, go in there, and Protoss can defend from his main with Colossus and Blink Stalkers. So that version definitely favors Protoss a lot more than the updated version. So I have to agree there.
Oh yeah. So this is going to be curious to see how this plays out, definitely. Anyways, HwangSin has gone 1 gate expand into adding a couple more gateways, which is pretty standard stuff, especially on a macro map like this one. And I missed Hack's opening, but I'm assuming it was 1 Racks Expo into a couple more racks.
Yeah, it was. 1 Racks into 3 racks, 2 tech labs, 1 reactor. Probably the most basic and standard build you can if you want to go for a macro build. And HwangSin on the other side adding a third and fourth gas, so he's not gonna go for a massive gateway. But that throwing down a starport and cancelling it, that's the thing.
Interesting indeed. And also putting down a forge, so maybe he wants to get some upgrades going. I can't really... I mean, I don't know what he would want cannons for at this point in the game.
It's just for upgrade. Maybe getting a cannon against Banshees because he doesn't really know what's going on. It's really weird he cancelled that starport without getting any new information, so it was just like, oh, let's get a starport, and then 10 seconds
Never
later
mind.
it was like, oh, maybe not, maybe not.
It's a pretty fast Ghost Academy down here for Hack. I know that Ghost play is really becoming more and more popular. In my Zerg games, I'm finding that I hate Snipe more than anything in the world.
Snipe is beautiful.
But EMP is probably the real thing that we're going to see here out of Hack. EMP to keep the energy on the sentries down, and of course to knock out shields when necessary. Now there was a time when Koreans were saying that early EMP pushes were a little bit imba. What's your take on that whole thing, Tilo?
I think when Ghosts were actually still taking down 200 energy on caster units, maybe that might have actually been the case, and I think it's one of the main reasons they lowered it. It still kind of relied on Protoss making a little bit mistake playing greedy, but Ghost pushes are extremely strong and being underrated in the foreign scene so far. People always say it's hard to transition out of Ghost, but I disagree. Ghosts are just so good overall, and it looks like a dangerous push moving out for Hack being very smart. He's leaving the Ghosts back until he chases away the Stalkers from the Watchtowers, so HwangSin still doesn't know there's a Ghost out there. Maybe if he clumps up his units just to defend a little bit better, and he gets 2 good EMPs out there, yeah, he's gonna be in a lot of trouble. But the Observer's gonna come out and spot the Ghost, so never mind.
This is still a pretty scary push. HwangSin's going to have to nail his force fields, basically, because if the armies were just to fight straight up, I feel like Terran would win easily. And
I like the sentry on the cliff. That's very beautiful.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the one that Hack is favoring, as we just saw him reposition it. Terran just kind of dancing around outside of that natural, trying to decide whether or not he wants to push up in there. I wonder if he realizes the observer's there.
He's waiting for a scan.
Very smart. Very smart.
Just getting the observer, that's very nice too.
Okay, there's a pretty good EMP, knocking out a lot of that sentry, but he still, but HwangSin still does have that sentry up on the high ground, and he's casting a lot of force field, and Hack just kind of deciding that he doesn't want to engage there. I still feel like this Terran push is pretty scary, so long as he doesn't stem it to death.
Yeah, but there are like 3 more sentries with energy enough to force field. So even though it was very scary, I don't think Terran can engage anymore, and he decides to be prudent, move his forces back, and he lost 2 Ghosts, which is hurtful, but I think at least he slowed down the opponent. He's getting massive upgrades, and charge on his Zealots is gonna be so strong, but still an even game from here.
Yeah, I like the position Protoss is in right now. He's, as you said, he's double upgrading. Charge is on his way out. He's also getting Colossi with the Thermal Lance. Meanwhile, Terran's taking his 3rd base in okay, that's not a weird spot. He's going to lift it down to the natural, I guess. Just doesn't want it to be too easily scouted. And
very smart.
Yeah, very smart. And meanwhile, Hack just kind of running around the map, opening up some rocks, enabling more attack paths. He's found this proxy pylon up at the top of the map. Both these players are just going to sit back a little bit, macro up, and move into, I guess, that later part of the mid game.
Heck adding, HwangSin adding a Templar's Archive too now, and Heck hovering there with a drop. If he actually goes in there now, he could take out the Robotics Bay, denying the range upgrade for Colossus, making it a very weird choice for HwangSin to have Colossus.
Oh, it's such a big drop. He's got 4 Marauders and 6 Marines? Is that correct? 8 Marines. Certainly enough to very easily knock out some key tech structures. I'm not sure what he's waiting for. I guess he just wants to push the front at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of ensure that he's able to deal some damage.
He scans the front now, seeing there's a lot of units, so he knows there's actually nothing on the back. Moving in now. Yeah, the range upgrade is actually gonna finish, but he's just going for the probes anyways. Now taking out the robotic space. Perfect timing for photos, I guess. A little bit lucky there.
Yeah, very, very fortunate. Simultaneously, a big push in the front, though, and the force fields were not really on point, but the Colossi popping out just in time.
Second drop on the main again, but so many zealots, that's not gonna happen. Big trade for Protoss. I think it's looking good for HwangSin.
Yeah, I think HwangSin, that was maybe a little bit scary, but he got the best of that trade. Even if we just look on the units lost tab, very close, but as we can see, the Protoss army has kind of been allowed to grow unchecked. He's got a third Colossus out, now he's starting to add in High Templar. So I think right now Terran is basically he's kind of entering the danger zone, as this Protoss army is freaking terrifying.
Yeah, so few Vikings out, only a lot of Marines, many for my taste almost against Colossus and Templar. But then again, Protoss army, oh, he's actually adding an Archon. He did not intend to go for Sidestone, but Archon's being so strong too now. And I'm not sure if Terran can even hold now.
Yeah, Zealot Archon is kind of like a new thing that's getting a lot of play over in Korea.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
I like the way that HwangSin's kind of transitioning from Colossus into that. Here we go, this push is going to happen. Zealots powering up the ramp. Marauders are doing a good job of laying down a lot of damage, but the Zealots are just fodder, and the meat of the Protoss army is still kind of going unchallenged. A lot of the Colossi are going to go down. Hack working very hard to clean up this push. I feel like maybe he's going to hold here, but he's taken a little bit of damage in the process, losing some SCVs. He does chase Protoss away. It's hard for me to say, though, whether or not that was a big win.
I think it was still very good engagement for Protoss, just keeping Terran small again. But Protoss has so strong upgrades already. It's 3-1, but Terran is still on 1-1, getting 2-1
such
now.
fast +3 attack.
And he killed a lot of SCVs, so even though Protoss is still on 2 base, and now it just gets the Nexus, it was good engagement. Losing all his Colossus, which is a little bit unfortunate. But as he will not be able to replenish any, even if he loses 1 or 2, he might just as well lose the third one as well, because it's not going to be so effective anymore.
Well, Protoss doesn't even look like he wants to replenish those Colossi. He's transitioning into pure Zealot Archon with just whatever Stalker support he's got left over. I'm not sure that he's got the economy to really support the gateway production he needs to make this work, though. I feel like he needs 3 bases and 12 or so gateways, and he's not quite there yet.
But well, it kind of depends, because if you go for that Archon play, well, actually you probably even need more warp gates then, because Templar takes so much time. Never mind, just a little bit of a bad idea in my mind. But he seems to be able to spend it with his double forge, getting an 8th gate now. So if he uses his Chrono Boost right, I guess he's good spot with his warp gates. But Terran, in the meanwhile, getting a quite nice army again, and he's ahead in supply, even having just as many SCV Protoss almost, plus mules. Third base up already, but still Protoss looks so scary with those Archons.
Yeah, and these upgrades, man, these upgrades are incredible. He's actually backed off upgrading, which I'm not sure why. I think he could start upgrading shields and armor. He's got the gas, well, not really the gas, but he's got a little bit of a mineral surplus.
It makes
I guess
a
he just
little
wants to get
sense.
the Archons, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of sense if you get Archons. Armor is not really gonna help you either, because you obviously only have 10 hit points on real hit points, so armor is gonna give you less Archons and doesn't help your Archons at all, so it makes a little bit of sense.
But it gives so much more life to those Zealots.
True.
So anyways, it looks like
engagement.
a little bit of a push is starting to materialize here. I don't think Terran wants to engage. He's backing up these stems, and here we go. Zealots are charging in. Archons, oh my gosh, big EMPs going down. But the Archons are just mulching everything in that Terran army. The Marauders are in full retreat. Holy cow, man. But once again, the Hack seems to hold. I don't know, man. I still feel like Protoss is getting the best of these trades.
Still 6 Archons in the battle, and now the units are almost stimmed to death. It's so hard to kill Archons now with the increased range, losing all medivacs, almost all units, having to pull SCVs again, which will be taken out so quickly by Archons as well. Not looking good for Hack at all.
Yeah, a nice little wall micro there, bringing up the SCVs and just getting the most mileage out of these few units that he can. His Hack is just desperately trying to hang on, but he's going to lose his natural. Protoss has to know that there's a third down there, so I'm sure he'll turn around and go hit that next. You know, the supplies, there's starting to be a pretty substantial disparity here. Terran was doing a good job of kind of keeping up and maybe even staying a little bit ahead, but the cost effectiveness of this Zealot Archon army is just ludicrous.
I mean, 47 damage on a single Archon against biological units. Insane. I'm really startled we don't see more Archons in PvP. I guess it's quite easily countered if you just go for a little bit of a higher count of ghosts. Because if you get like 4 or 5 ghosts, you can probably EMP every Archon, and then they're gonna be left with 10 hit points, so it's a little bit vulnerable to mass ghosts, but such a strong play if it's not correctly countered.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting that you mentioned that, as Terran does have a lot of extra gas. I feel like he could have gone, I guess, a little more heavy on the ghosts, but if you do that, then the normal Colossus ball just becomes too hard to deal with.
Then again, he took out the robotics, so kinda knew that's not gonna be more, I guess.
Oh, good call, good call.
Yeah,
regardless of
21.
That,
Yeah,
Terran all the way down to 21 supply. He does tap out the GG there. That Zealot Archon ball, so scary, and that's going to tie up the series, right? That's 1-1 now.
No, Protoss won again.
No, that's right. The 2-gate push. Wow. So I'm totally off base here. So it goes up 2-0. HwangSin looking very strong here, and I have to wonder what Hack is going to do in game number 3. We will be back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.